mercy. Rosalita, jump a little bit. Senorita, come sit by my hand. AOA podcast. Let's get this week started. What do you say? We've got more Diddy accusations rolling in. Why not a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old as the disgustingness continues in that corner of the world? Speaking of that corner of the world, Diddy's prison where he's being held right now, raided by multiple police departments. That happened today. There was the Bureau of Prisons, the Justice Department's Inspector General's office. A bunch of people went into the prison in Brooklyn where Diddy is being held and raided the joint, which is kind of crazy. As soon as I saw this one, I go, "Oh, that was quick, boy!" So he got Epstein very quickly there. Very, very strange. Very, very strange. But I think he's okay. But I don't know because nobody's talking. So we'll dive into it on this episode. Sorry, I said we would stop diving into things. I'm trying to stop people from diving and jumping in on things on the internet. The Tony Hinchcliffe backlash has gotten just so far out of control. So we'll go over that. Trump on Rogan. That episode got released since we last spoke on Friday. So I'll share my thoughts on everything that happened on that JRE and Jaw as Bruce Springsteen. That's right. Jeremy Allen White. We got our first look at him as Bruce Springsteen in the new Bruce biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. I'm getting goosebumps and chills looking at some of that footage. Plus, we will drop in on some of the latest election stuff. Remind me if I forget. We're talking about Bezos. We're talking about, I don't know, we're talking about all the latest election stuff. All that, and more on this episode. You do. Look at that, like magic. He just like
poof. There I am, baby. That was weird. You said, all right, so I saw the proof. You sent me the link.
Yeah.
But it didn't come through for some reason. I don't know.
Technology. You know.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Technology is going to technology on us no matter what we do. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I missed the rundown. I don't know what we're talking about.
Here's where we're going to start, Frankie C. The several authorities, what do you say? How do you say police department? What word am I looking for here that I am struggling off the bat?
Law enforcement?
Thank you. Several different law enforcement agencies raided P. Diddy's prison earlier today. This came from the Bureau of Prisons, the Justice Department's Inspector General's office, several other law enforcement agencies. They all descended on the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn earlier today. There was a statement released to the Associated Press saying, quote, "The law enforcement operation is designed to achieve our shared goal of maintaining a safe environment for both our employees and our incarcerated individuals housed at MDC Brooklyn." Prison officials declined to provide specific details about the operation earlier today, Monday morning. But of course, we know that there's been a lot of scrutiny over horrific conditions before Epstein, after Epstein. Again, this was the prison that Epstein was found dead in, that the cameras magically stopped working, that people stopped magically doing their patrols. Right. He found a way to hang himself on a bunk bed that was no bigger than any other.
I don't understand that either. I mean, you think you would just stand up?
Yeah. Seems like standing up was an option, but
maybe I'm not thinking of it the way it happened, but it feels like a bed is not as high as, is not taller than you.
Nope, not from what I saw in the photos either. Yeah. We've done all the Epstein stuff that is possible to do. Go look at the playlist on the YouTube channel, link at anthonyonair.com if you want to get some background on all that. But
they raided they went in. Law enforcement went into the prison. It was like a surprise thing that they didn't.
It was a surprise to me. I don't know if the Bureau of Prisons, the Inspector General. So I'm assuming it was a surprise. I got wind of it this morning. I sent you the link. They were just, nobody knew what was going on early this morning. Just cops started showing up. Journalists started shooting, footage of people in the cars and getting out and going into the prison. And I'm like, I literally waited all day up to and including the start of the show to go, Diddy found dead in prison. I was just waiting for that news flash to come across. It hasn't yet.
Now, would that be too obvious if
it's still early, by the way? It's still early. So hang with us. There's still
you never know, but would that be like, if that happened, yes, it's possible that he did it to himself. And yes, I guess it's possible that someone else did it to him. But if someone else did it to him, is that a little too obvious? Like, this is what I mean? It's like very, okay, something's up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, how do you feel if Diddy winds up? They just Diddy found dead, and I mean, life's not real. If there's, I wouldn't know what to do. I
wouldn't know. Because if he did, it's like, all right, I don't, because it's almost like flip a coin. Did he do it to himself or did he not do it to himself? These are two gigantic scumbags looking down the barrel of the rest of their lives in prison.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they did it to themselves,
And there's been bad conditions at this prison reported forever. Why today? Did it have anything to do with Diddy? Like, we just don't know. Like, was this Diddy's lawyers being like, hey, this, and this, and this, you need to figure this the fuck out?
But if you're saying that law enforcement went in, law enforcement doesn't refurbish prisons, or it's not like cops are going in there screwing in new cameras or fixing lights or toilets or anything. It'd be maintenance people. They'd have to hire, I guess, people that know how to do that stuff to do that.
Right.
It's not law enforcement rushing into these prisons to do that. If there's a huge group of law enforcement rushing into a place, chances are there's a legal problem going on inside that
correct
has to be squashed in some way.
And it also tells me that they don't trust the people running the prison or working in the prison, right? Because why else would it be like, you don't just show up 50 cop cars deep running in the joint.
Sound like a maintenance job.
Right. Like, if you have a problem and you have a meeting and you're going to investigate or you're going to talk about this or that, and there's cooperation and everything is going on, it's a little less intense. Like, these guys just literally rolled up sirens and everything, and now they're coming into and again, it's a prison. It's not like it's a business or somebody's home where bad things are suspected of happening.
And it's weird because it's a place. It's a place run by law enforcement. So it's like police pulling up to a police precinct and raiding it and running in. Like, what would the reason for that be? If something's going on inside and they need extra hands, maybe.
Yeah, corrupt cops.
Maybe there was a brawl, a riot.
Could have been. People. Could have been, yeah. And again, it's like, how do you assess? How do you get that information? You ask the prison. The prison goes, "Oh, we're not commenting." So until somebody's lawyer, somebody who's on the inside's lawyer, speaks up and says, "Oh, this is what happened," we'll never know. How the hell are we going to know?
Well, how many? There's a couple thousand prisoners in there. I don't know what the number is.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that big. I think it's a few hundred. I don't think it's that big.
I thought it was like 1,500 or more than that.
I mean, maybe they're creeping up just over 1,000, but it's not that large.
Right. Let's say it's 1,000 people. They get visitors, right? I'm sure. I mean, family.
Some, yeah.
Some. I mean,
lawyers at the very least. Lawyers are coming in to, yeah.
Sure. I mean, if family goes in, the prisoner can just as easily tell the family, this just happened yesterday, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's it's this, it exists in a void. There are people coming in and out of there.
Yeah, but it's going to take us a while to find out from those people.
Know
a day or two.
Happening. We'll probably know in a week or so.
That's why we got nothing. I mean, we could check with our law enforcement expert who's also arrived.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Jay Sams, what do you think? Did you think Diddy was dead when that came across the old news flash this morning?
It actually, I didn't know. I didn't know what it was because it was very weirdly sentenced. So I was like, I didn't think he was dead. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
did.
doesn't seem like
You
the
did?
response that would, that would make.
Yeah. Authorities launch interagency operation at federal jail. To me, I'm like, what's happening here? There's not.
He's gone.
Yeah, they ain't coming over to see what the plans are for the holidays this year. They're not planning the holiday party.
Right, but what was the headline when it was Epstein? I think it was just Epstein found dead. I don't think it was anything. I don't think it was this big secretive thing, and then it was.
Oh no, not at all. I just thought you're correct. But when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is the headline,
right
before the headline. Everybody's arriving, and then we're gonna get the
big press conference or something.
Yeah. Hey, we got some news about Diddy. Everybody gather around. That's what I was expecting next. Never came. Right. Never exactly came. We did get the story, though, that Diddy is accused of 2 more horrific essays, as people are saying now. We have to say essay to stay safe on social media. Yeah. 2 more lawsuits. And R-ing. Yep, we're R-ing now and essaying. I mean, we're not, but we're talking about people who are R-ing.
I have a question. Why are they, like, why is that taboo to say that? Why can't you say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, platforms, they just they try to keep it as as PG, I guess, as they can.
Yep. I mean, right now we're seeing anything that has to do with the election, which this episode obviously does, being tampered down, a little bit. Like, our normal numbers will be up here, and then we'll put something in that's sensitive at the moment, and then it'll come down. So like, if we say those things in the first 5 minutes, like, you can see it on YouTube. It's like the episode goes live, right? Everybody comes in for the live, and then it goes like this, it settles, and then it starts to hit everybody's algorithm who will watch us like within the first 24 hours. So it shoots back up again. And then when you see there's something where there's a problem in the first 5 or 10 minutes, then you'll start to see it dip like dramatically. Whereas normally it'll go like this and maybe gradually always continue to rise in views.
So weird.
That's just what that's what they do.
Is it true to say like that kind of content doesn't get randomly shared as often as something a little more friendly, family friendly?
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So anyway, that's the current state of what we're in. So 10-year-old boy, another victim was 17. One of the 2 new accusers claims he met Diddy in 2005 when he was just 10, trying to make it as an actor and rapper. According to this lawsuit that was filed in the Manhattan Supreme Court today, the then boy's parents hired a consultant, and they were told to fly to New York City to meet some music industry insiders. And then they were connected with Diddy, who offered to meet the boy for an audition. The accuser was left in a hotel room with Combs and rapped some songs before the music mogul told him he could make him a star, but asked him how badly he wanted it. I mean, do we have to go into more details on this? I think I
think we got the point.
Yeah.
That's horrific.
Yeah. The second 2 was a 17-year-old boy. He was trying out for the reality show Making the Band. You remember that's the thing that Diddy hosted on MTV or MTV2,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. In that complaint, Diddy allegedly asked the accuser during a private audition how he would handle sexual pressures in the music industry, and then proceeded to
like this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's fucking crazy. I just,
I have to say, okay, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt here for 1 second?
Please. Don't apologize.
I'm not shocked that he did this to women. I am shocked that he did this to guys, and I'm even more shocked that he did this to little kids, like boys, supposedly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like little kids.
And that's just adding to the scumbagness. And not only that, how does he work with all these different people, like security and people that are around him all the time? And, especially security, people letting people in and out. Like, you have to, do you not know? Do they not? That's what I said.
No, they got paid off, just like the other guy. They got paid off.
I said a couple of shows ago, I'm like, They got to start scooping up people that were writing his, helping him do all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting for that big sweep of all these people that worked for him. We're gonna hone in on you guys now. So
it's a big organization that dude was running,
right.
TD is asking about this alleged recorded phone call between Diddy and his son. As far as I can tell, that is AI and not real. That's what I've been able to gather from that. I don't know if anybody heard it, but it's like Diddy he calls his son and he's like, you got to get rid of the pizza boxes. And it's supposedly a phone call from prison, I believe, but it's not, from what I can tell, it is not real. And nobody else has been able to verify it as real. I believe it's fake.
It's supposedly him calling his son from prison.
Right.
I didn't know about that at all.
It's so over the top. Like, I'm not blaming TD. Like, assholes on the internet are just like, bombshell leaked phone call. Like, everybody just hears it and just is like passing it along like it's it's like a real news story. It's not. It's not.
You got to wait for legit places to be like, this is verified.
Which is so sad that this podcast has become a legit place to tell people that things are fake.
Has it?
That just tells you the status of how fucked up the world is right now. We've become the authority somehow in keeping people on the straight and narrow. It makes me sick. So that's Diddy. So he's alive, I guess, as far as we can tell.
Yeah,
for now.
So, I mean, we'll keep this. I'm sure there'll be more about whatever this was today.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you're the warden and Diddy wound up dead in your thing, you'd want 24 hours to gather your shit together before you have to tell the world what happened.
I mean, does he imagine he comes out and says, "Oh, it was hanged," and I guess at 2 in a row, same cell. I don't know what.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
I mean, they gotta. What is he on watch? No,
they
right?
said they said he was in the beginning, and then they said it was because of his high profile status, not so much that he's on suicide watch, but we thought it was because he was suicidal. Turns out it was more because of his status, and they want to just keep an eye on him because he's a famous person. People might want to take a shot.
I wonder if he's right. Is he in like Gen Pop?
No, he's not in Gen Pop, but he's not in solitary either, from what I understand.
Right.
But I don't think he's walking around the schoolyard, the prison yard with everybody at lunchtime. I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, because that's where Epstein was too. Epstein was in that. It's just a few cells, and it's not exact. Like, you spend a lot of the time by yourself, but. I think they went out to eat, and he could go to the commissary and things like that. But I don't think he was doing that with everybody else.
Right, he's not in like mingling among hundreds of people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving right along. Oh, before we do, Stillbirth Awareness Month. Oh my goodness, we've only got, dear Lord, 3 days left of October, Rocktober, as I like to call it.
Did October fly, or is it May?
Totally flew.
Flew, right?
Totally flew.
Yeah.
Like, Cuddles and I are planning a Thanksgiving getaway this year. And
I'm sorry, what?
We're doing a little Thanksgiving getaway, a little vacation. And we were like,
wait,
it's really taking a while. And then all of a sudden, like October, we're a month away from Halloween. I guess it's coming up soon. And that felt like yesterday we said that.
You're doing a vacation before your vacation?
No.
You're not going away in December?
We're going away in the first week of December, but that's also we're leaving we'll be not here for Thanksgiving.
Oh, so where are you going?
None of your fucking business where I'm going. I'm fucking I don't want you showing up there. I don't want you following along. You know where I'm going.
We need the itinerary.
No,
Yeah.
I mean for Thanksgiving.
Well, what state am I going to vacation on, and who do I know that lives in that state? It's a pretty safe assumption. That's where I'm going by some family down there. This is not interesting to anybody, but Janine.
So, Stillbirth Awareness Month.
Yeah, right. I just want to mess with you because if I went on vacation before my vacation,
I would give you a really hard time about it. Yeah, I would be relentless about it. First of all, I have another bone to pick with Janine. I mean, the problems between her and I are multiplying on a
What did I
daily
do now?
basis.
What the hell's going on?
She bought my daughter this whore outfit, okay, for lack of a better term. Like,
Poor outfit.
my daughter comes in and she goes, and I'll tell you what else too. My wife is an accomplice in all this. So it's not just Janine. There's a conspiracy theory of Janine teaming up with my wife to just give me a fucking heart attack. Okay. So my daughter walks in the other day, and this is a while ago. I just haven't been able to get to it. My daughter walks in the other day and she goes, "Dad, can I wear this shirt?" I forget where she was going, birthday party or something. She was doing something, or it was, I don't think it was school. She was going somewhere. And it was like a midriff, like her stomach was, and she asked me, and she comes in and she's like, "Daddy, Mommy, can I wear this shirt? Mommy wanted me to check with you." And the look on her face, because you could tell she loved the shirt. And I'm just like, I told myself I would never let my daughter leave the house dressing like this. And
Can you
then,
say, yeah, put something underneath it? Wear it over something?
I don't know if I didn't think about it at the time. I just in my initial reaction was absolutely not take that off. And then I saw the look on her face and how happy she was and how like pretty she felt. And then it crushed me. So I was like, yes, you can wear it, and I forgot what I said. And then Cuddles tells me, "Oh, Janine bought her that shirt." And
There's absolutely no
okay.
way that I bought her a shirt that was short.
Are you accusing my wife of blaming you? Because now we'll have a full-on conspiracy theory.
Wow.
I'm pretty
So
sure
one of you is lying.
No, because I think, well, hold on a second. Did you not send stuff over for her birthday?
I gave your wife a bag of, I'm sorry. I gave her a gift a couple of weeks ago.
Was it clothing?
It was part clothing, yes.
Okay. Yeah, and part is that's the key word, Frank. It wasn't a full shirt. It was part of a shirt.
No, I'm pretty sure what I got her wasn't short.
Well, it was short on her. And it had like ruffly sleeves. Wasn't that it?
Now I can't remember what I got her. Shit.
You have to stop drinking so often. That's the problem.
Oh, I did not get her something slutty though to fuck with you. I mean, now I will, but
it was a little slutty. And I'll tell you what else too. It was for a party, I remember, because she comes back and I said, "How was the party?" She goes, "I got in trouble." And I said, "What did you do?" And she goes, "I stole a salad from the."
See, the shirt made her do it.
Yeah.
And Janine's that bad influence.
I was like, this is a big problem. It was that first moment, Frank, though. It was that first moment where I'm going to do it this way was crushed by her.
The puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. She got
Took me down fast.
Around a finger.
Took me down fast, dude.
That's it.
Fast.
You're powerless.
Yeah.
So.
And then Janine also got her a bath bomb. You know what a bath bomb is? Like it's like a little. Yeah.
Is it like soap or something? But it like fizzes or something in the. I never.
Yes.
Yeah, I've only seen them like in stores. I've never had one.
She gets her Cheetos bath bomb. It just turns the water Cheeto orange.
Well,
does it smell like Cheetos?
Well, I open the thing because it's in a plastic wrapper. So I open the wrapper. I pull the ball out. The ball is in a wrapper. So now I have to like tear and it's like this tiny little thing. I'm like picking at it, trying to get this fucking thing open. So I finally get it open and it's in my hand. And next thing I know, like I'm holding it like this and the thing just crumbles and falls apart and it's all in the carpet. It's like embedded in the carpet.
Listen,
that's how you know it's good quality.
Your wife did ask for that. So sorry.
She said, "Buy my daughter a whore t-shirt." Is that what she said?
She said, she said, she would like a bath bomb. And I'm like, bath bomb? Okay.
When it crumbled in your hands, did you go, "It's not easy being cheesy"?
Oh, God.
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, all right.
I said to myself, I need an alcohol beverage. That's what I said to myself.
That's good.
She does love bath bombs for some reason, though. She loves a bath bomb. I
Yeah, I
don't know.
don't. Is it? I don't know. Is it like it creates like a bubble bath or something?
Yeah, you get like a little bubble. Although the Cheetos one wasn't. It just turned the water orange, and then supposedly it turned the water back to clear. And I'm like, the cancer this thing must cause. I have no idea why we're doing this, but
I mean, that's probably what Trump uses in his bath water. It turns him orange.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
He comes out of there all orangey.
Anyway, Frankie C, it's Stillbirth Awareness Month. As you know, I'm the foremost authority on stillbirth on this podcast. And
that is you. Yep. Nobody else, just you.
I try and raise as much money as I can for the Star Legacy Foundation, which is dedicated to reducing pregnancy loss and neonatal death, Frank. This affects a lot of families.
Yeah. The very worthwhile cause.
Yes. Janine, don't be so insensitive with your noises and everything. I'm trying to do a real read here. We're raising money right now all month long, and like I said, just 3 more days left, so click that link in the description for this episode and throw a couple of bucks if you will to help support Star Legacy Foundation. Wonderful community of families, health professionals, researchers, policymakers, individuals, and also deputy investigators, as I like to call them, all coming together to try and make sure that every pregnancy has a happy ending. Frank, over 21,000 annual stillbirths still happening in this country. We can put a stop to this by donating today. Ain't that right, J Sabs? Anything you want to add?
Well, you got the gist of it, but yes, thank you. It's not stillbirth month though, but that's okay. You keep getting it wrong, but that's okay. It's Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And yes, I will be holding my annual walk on Saturday. So all funds will go to those in need who've had a stillbirth. We offer free online support groups and research so we can hopefully reduce the amount of stillbirths per year.
That's nice.
Did you do another interview with anybody?
I'm trying to get someone who I don't want to be premature here, but I'm hoping this person says yes to me. And It is an influencer.
Oh, big timer, big deal.
I would say so.
Okay.
Would we know the name if you said it?
Well,
how many followers?
They have like 2 million.
That's pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's like 2 million.
Oh, that'd be a good get.
Yeah.
That would be big. So, okay.
We'll see.
All right, well, I hope you get it.
Yep.
By any chance, is it Tony Hinchcliffe? Because
it
might be easier to get him today than it was yesterday.
So
Something tells me his schedule is wide open.
Poor Tony Hinchcliffe. I have a lot of thoughts on this, as I'm sure everybody does. I don't know. Do you guys want to go first? What order do you want to go in? Should we draw straws?
Me? Well, no, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead. Ladies first is fine.
Yeah, right.
Ladies first. So Frank, you go, and then Jay Sams, and then I'll go.
Actually, it's Frank, Anthony, then me. Between today and next Tuesday, I'm going to see who the bigger pussy is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, Janine. Give us your opinion first.
Okay. So first I saw reactions from people.
Okay.
I didn't see what he said first. So I had to kind of backtrack and he made a joke, but the thing is, it was really, I didn't get the joke at first. Okay. I'm sorry.
The Puerto Rican joke?
Yeah, because I was like, that doesn't really make sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because the place is fucking gorgeous. Yes.
And I don't, just the way he said it, I'm like, first I was like, is he, was he trying to make a migrant joke? And it came out bad.
Well,
because it just doesn't make sense all around, right?
It didn't make sense. It wasn't funny, and it was very insulting. And I think it was. I know what you're gonna say, but I think it's racist.
It's not your turn. Why are you jumping the line? It's not your turn.
She's talking to us. She was asking us.
Okay, so
about?
besides it being not funny,
Well,
there's
all right. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
he's
Okay.
here's the thing though. He's a comedian, so he makes fun of all different groups. So to get offended by what he said that wasn't even funny, like it wasn't meant to be. He thought it was funny, but it wasn't funny. It was corny. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say?
Fair point.
So there's people losing their minds, which they shouldn't, because he's a comedian. And again, he's making jokes not just about Puerto Rican people, about other ethnicities as well. And someone who I watched who said that they were Puerto Rican got mad at people for getting mad at him.
Right.
Was
that me?
No, it wasn't you, surprisingly.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It was some other lib. No, just kidding. So do you know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Frank, I'll let you go. Is that it? Was that?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah, it's
Am I allowed
my
to
turn.
speak now?
I think Janine was wrapping it up there.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I'm allowed to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't funny. It was stupid and racist and terrible, and it didn't.
Whoa.
And it was one of those. It was a joke that he was feeding off of this, just where he was and what he and the tensions that are already going on between left and right and what's going on. It's not. It's just a terrible thing to do. He's not Don Rickles. He's not. It was a stupid.
Don Rickles. Wait, you think he's funny?
Don
I think
Rickles
Don
is
Rickles
very
was
funny.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
You don't. Okay.
Sort of.
But
Janine.
this was
We have
awful.
different we have different humor.
Janine, you just earned yourself like 17 text messages from me later on today. So I'm going to be sending you clips until you admit that man is funny.
You're gonna get mad at this, but we've had this conversation before. I don't think old stuff is funny. Like older.
You just don't like anything funny, or even if it's like dramatic, or you don't like anything like pre-1980.
Yeah, I agree.
Why?
Not 80, not 19. Well,
oh, that's right, because she hates the honeymooners too, right?
Oh,
honeymooners.
Oh.
Anything like you. All right. The first thing is black and white. Anything black and white, you stay away from, right?
Like that.
Right.
How you could watch that, I don't even know, without wanting to just fucking slit your wrist. Go ahead.
Young Frankenstein is great. It's black and white, but it was with the 80s, late 70s. Anyway, so it was. Robin in the chat was said a couple of points that makes sense. That wasn't making jokes about white people. He was.
Don't drag Robin into this, because I'm going to disagree with you, and I like Robin.
He brought up, he's joining the chat here. He didn't have to make any white jokes. There was someone that said, he's insulting no one but minorities. He's making all these jokes about race and all this stuff, and everybody's laughing. And another point that Robin said that I forgot about, but the Trump campaign is had to put out a statement. Yeah, they're distancing themselves from this joke because the Donald Trump and the campaign do not share. I forget what the statement said exactly, but do not share the views of this comedian. Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, if they didn't think, if they thought it was fine and there was nothing wrong with it, they probably would have said, no, it was just a joke. It was a comedian. But obviously something's wrong with it. Even the Trump campaign is like, we have nothing to do with this guy.
True, but I have to interject a little bit here. It was a pretty standard operating procedure distancing. Like I saw the quote, and it was like, we don't. True, but
when's the last time they distanced themselves from something?
You're right, but I guess here's my point of why it's like a mellow. Yes, I agree with what you're saying, but it's mellow because it wasn't Trump who did it. It was It was the Trump campaign. So
yeah, okay.
It would have.
But that's his show. They probably couldn't put that out without his approval. And if they did put it out and he didn't approve of it, I guarantee he'd be out there going, I didn't say, I didn't approve of that. I didn't distance myself. It's something that should never have been said. I think it was awful what he was saying. It was stupid. It was racist and terrible.
I have such a big problem with you in these moments.
No, you can't listen. There is such thing as inappropriate jokes. You can't say that every joke is, as long as it's a joke, it's fine. Sometimes there are inappropriate jokes, and that's an inappropriate.
Yes.
And what he was saying are inappropriate jokes, and terrible. They were insulting and ridiculous, and it didn't. It didn't. Wasn't funny, and it was sort of feeding into this division, and it was like, this isn't what's it called, a roast night at whatever, the Friars Club. This is a political campaign, and you're further dividing the country. Everybody, you're picking up minorities and making jokes about them. It's like, what are you doing? Pick different material, dude. It's not, it doesn't make any sense. And it was, I think I'm completely, like, I know your view, but I'm against it.
Okay.
Wrong.
Sorry, that's not the answer we were looking for.
Yeah, tell your side of it.
Okay, here's my side of it. And this is multi-layered, but the first thing that I want to get out, and I think this is very important.
He's a comedian. Okay. Is that your defense? All comedians are protected from being insulting?
Well, that's partially true, but here's my first, and this is the first and foremost most important point, and this is what made me put out the video that I did yesterday. The second he said it, within moments, it was clipped and hit the internet.
Yeah.
And people, including Kamala's campaign, which she's wrong to do this, said speaker at Trump rally says. And then, the word, whatever it was, Puerto Rico's trash, or however it was framed. To me, that's dishonest, because he's not a speaker at a rally. He's a comedian. That's important, right? Now, if you said Jared Kushner goes on stage and says alarming shit at Madison Square Garden rally.
Yeah, but what if he was making it? What if he said, it's just a joke? What if
that's not, he's not a comedian. No.
You have to, what makes you a comedian? You have to.
Well, Tony Hinchcliffe is a comedian. That's important. It's important.
So you have to be a comedian in order to be protected by this I'm just telling jokes thing?
Here's the thing. You have to acknowledge there's a difference between Trump and or Dr. Phil or whoever was there yesterday. Melania, Kushner. He was there saying stupid shit yesterday. That is different than a comedian making a joke at a rally. Somebody representing his campaign saying something awful is here, and a comedian making a joke that doesn't land is here. And to pass this comedian thing off as this Trump surrogate thing is wrong on every level. I don't care what anybody says. You'll never convince me otherwise, because it's dishonest to be like, Trump speaker says Puerto Ricans are bad. Like, that's not what happened. A comedian went on stage at Madison Square Garden to warm up an audience, and he made a joke that didn't necessarily land in the room. And you can tell he was trying to work in minority jokes. What his reasoning was is, I don't know. I can't speak for him. My guess would be he's a comedian. He knows that the support they have for that campaign is not going to come back and help them. So maybe that's why he was doing it. I don't think he was there to make fun of white people, because that doesn't necessarily make sense. But if you want to make fun of minorities who are not going to be helped by that particular campaign that he's there for, I wouldn't put that past Tony Hinchcliffe to do that.
So it's okay. So you're saying it was okay for him to make fun of people that the Trump campaign doesn't care about?
No, I think he can. No, I think he's pointing out. I think he's pointing out.
It's basically highlighting. He's shining us. That joke shone a spotlight, put a spotlight on the overall feeling that everybody has about the Trump campaign, about how Trump was during his presidency. It highlighted how he treated Puerto Rico during the hurricanes, and how he was throwing fucking paper towels to the ground.
yeah,
It just highlighted the disrespect that the campaign and Trump have for Puerto Rico. And it's like, well, this just put a huge spotlight on it.
You know what's interesting about that? I don't know why he chose Puerto Rico, because he could have chose any island, you know. I don't. And
Yeah,
does
but
he even
that's another
remember?
point.
Okay, but
That's
hold on. Does he even remember the Hurricane Maria thing? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't remember that was down in Puerto Rico at the time. I didn't connect those two things together. No. It took me a while. It took me a while to be like, oh yeah, that was the paper towel throwing thing. That was that hurricane. I forgot about it.
That's not something that everybody forgets.
Well, I remembered that he did it. I didn't remember that it was that particular hurricane in Puerto Rico. That's what I'm saying.
That's a good question. Why did he pick?
But here's
not Long Island,
right? But here's the bigger point on this. It's that this is the worst part of liberals. And I'm sorry if you disagree, but this is the worst part of it. They take this thing, and everybody's doing it today. He's a racist comedian. He makes a terrible joke. Everybody loves to pile on today, and nobody's just going, well, he's a comedian who made a joke that didn't work, that didn't really land all that well. And they want to pass it off as, look, here's another reason not to elect Donald Trump. When I sit here and look at this and I go, this is backfiring against you, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because everybody is still talking about where's Kamala's issues, where's her plans, where's this, where's that. She's put it all out there. The reason why it's not dominating the mainstream conversation is because every time Trump says something batshit fucking crazy, it's all the media can talk about. And what she's doing to make it worse is she is now commenting and talking about it. So the only sound bites that are getting through from her is, could you believe he said this? And could you believe he said that? Instead of, I don't care what he says. This is what I plan on doing, which she was doing originally.
She's been doing that.
She ain't doing it anymore.
She's not going to talk about this huge thing that's in the news.
She should have stayed off of this, and she should stay off of because he's literally.
I disagree, because everybody would be like, how come you're not talking about this?
But the amount of crazy fucking shit he says is never ending. He has, you know how
that's why this is a different scenario. This isn't like two normal people going against each other. And if he says one batshit thing, yeah, you got to talk about it. But he says a million. That's why this is an abnormal race, because it never stops from his side.
But he's controlling the line of scrimmage at the current moment, because all she's doing, not all she's doing, but what is being picked up and what's being reported and being shared on social is her reactions to his shit. He has taken the conversation off of policy, off of plans, off of everything else. And now it's just a reaction of angry liberals who nobody likes or gives a shit to hear about. Nobody fucking cares that yet another person out of the Trump rally campaign said something fucking crazy. It doesn't move any needles.
That's very wrong.
It doesn't.
Look at all the reaction. Look at all the reactions. How could you say that nobody cares?
But it's meaningless.
Everything's going crazy right now.
First of all, Jared Kushner said far worse things at that campaign rally.
Stephen, whatever the frig his name is, his advisor. I can't remember. Stephen Miller. Do you know what he said? America is for Americans and Americans only.
Yeah.
This is the most racist bullshit that I've ever. It's ridiculous, and that's been we've all heard it.
But you're making my point for me. Every fucking crazy, stupid lib was jumping all over this because it was easy, low-hanging fruit because he mentioned a minority.
Over all of it. They're jumping all over all of it. They're jumping over the Stephen Miller thing. Stephen Miller?
I think you're right.
Isn't that a band, the Steve Miller Band? I don't know.
Gonna fly like an eagle.
But I think there are, for lack of a better term, highlights from the Trump rally that people are focusing on, and that is the biggest one because it was so out there and like, what the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, it wasn't that out there, and it's a funny joke. Like I'll give you an instance.
It's not a funny joke.
I'll give you
a funny joke.
I'll give you a for instance on why that's a funny joke. If I walk into any room here in the tri-state area and I go, there's an island of there's a big pile of garbage floating in the ocean right now. I think they call it Staten Island. Everybody would laugh at that. Everybody in this area would laugh at that. So the joke itself is funny, but all of us in today's current climate, you hear
in
inkling of
context, it's a bad joke to make in context because of one, the Trump campaign's treatment of Puerto Rico. Two, Staten Island, number one, is built on literally a garbage pile. Like that's like landfill. It's
Right.
Literal landfill.
Right.
And also Puerto Rico, it's what's it called? It's you're making fun of a place with a minority centric place. And
But
it's
here's why I reject that. We should be able to make fun of Puerto Rico, same as we should be able to make fun of Florida, same as we should be able to make fun of Staten Island.
Maybe in a lighthearted, but it's a pile of garbage. That's not.
But it's a misdirection joke. You understand joke, but you understand joke structure, right? It's a misdirection joke.
No, but I get that.
But you also answer me one more question. You also understand that Puerto Rico is a gorgeous place.
Okay.
It's a beautiful island.
Yeah.
Nobody should be taking offense to that.
But when he says it in front of a MAGA crowd, it's going to be taken as, oh yeah, it's a pile of trash. It's a trash pile. He's just feeding.
Do you think that's why it didn't land in the room?
I'm sorry?
Do you think that's why it didn't land in the room? It didn't really land all that well in the room.
Some people laughed. There were people laughing. Didn't land outside the room, it seemed like.
I thought it was like people were like, oh, like that was.
Yeah, people went like, oh, like I don't think it landed all that great in the room.
I mean, just also the track record. That's the other part of it. The track record of Trump and his campaign being completely racist does not help this joke.
But that's not his fault. He's just there to make jokes. All right, let me ask you a question. When he goes, we want to greet migrants with open arms, and he goes like this. That's not funny. That was pretty creative and funny.
That's probably a joke that the Trump campaign would not distance themselves from. But it's like when you're insulting, because it's based in fact. That's what they want. They want no more migrants, and this is just punching.
Right, but it's a misdirection joke. He says we're going to greet you with arms wide open, and then he goes like this. That's what's funny about it.
Yeah, but it's not like
it's terrible. The blaming the immigrants on everything is awful and racist, and I am behind that 100%. I think I'm pretty well on the record of how I feel about Trump and what he says. It's just now we're going to get angry at this comedian, and we're going to get totally off. I think in my heart of hearts, believe he is doing this all on purpose. He wants this kind of chaos, and the liberals are just falling into it. They're just falling into it by being like, here's another reason. And it's like, no, this was a comedian making jokes. Maybe they were not your brand of humor.
All it is. See, you're looking at it through a tunnel vision. That's the problem.
No, I'm not.
You got a comedian making jokes, but surrounding that comedian making jokes is a campaign full of racism and hatred and division. So when a comedian is thrown into that pot of boiling bullshit, and he makes a joke that is racist sounding, it's gonna bring up everything that's the campaign is about, and it's gonna just fall in line with everything. He's there as a comedian at a Trump rally, and he has to in however many ways that is showing support for that campaign. No, he's there. Yes. Supporting the Trump campaign.
Yes.
So what he says has that kernel of, I'm sort of, even if it's not official, representing the thoughts of the Trump campaign. It's very, I'm a comedian doing jokes, but I'm also a comedian doing jokes in the middle of a Trump campaign, and Trump's campaign is known to be very racist and have Nazi overtones.
But this is the problem.
And white supremacy and all this shit.
The second he walks on stage, you all hate him.
There in the first place.
You all hate him. That's not fair. That's just not fair.
we might not like him because he's supporting a Trump campaign. Fine. But in terms of his jokes, if he got up there and did an hour stand-up routine that was funny and didn't, fuck with, he didn't say anything racist and bigoted, maybe he would have been, he had some good jokes.
But jokes, you have to go down those roads and skirt those lines sometimes. You know that.
I get that. But he's also, it's not just I'm a comedian doing jokes and it doesn't matter where I tell them. It doesn't matter who I'm supporting. No, there's context with all of it. So if I'm a comedian doing jokes and I throw myself in Madison Square Garden in a Trump rally surrounded by tens of thousands of people, these jokes that I say are going to have some kind of impact. It's not just, there's
if he makes, let me ask you a question. If he makes these jokes in and Janine, I want you to answer this too. And I want you to make a ruling on Frank's answer.
Oh God.
If he makes these jokes at a comedy club, are we even talking about any of this?
No.
I don't know.
No,
but
come on.
I don't know but that's my point though. My point is he's a comedian making jokes in this context. He's not just a comedian
but that's
making
what I'm
jokes
saying.
At a comedy club.
As soon as he walks up onto that stage, the liberals are angry, and as soon as he does anything that they're not going to like, they're just fucking going crazy.
We wouldn't even know because we wouldn't even know. I wouldn't have even known that this comedian was there. So I had no idea this guy was even speaking at this thing. So you take a comedian, you throw him into a Trump rally, and he's bad right away. I'm sorry?
He's bad right away. He couldn't make you. No. He could not possibly make you laugh in that context.
That's not true. I mean, if he made joke, let's say,
dude, this is a funny joke, no matter what. I mean, I don't agree with Trump's stance on immigration, but this is fucking.
Well, that's the point. That's the problem. He's making light of a huge problem. I get jokes are supposed to be lighthearted and make you laugh at stuff.
Yes,
and be funny. I get that.
Yes,
but the problem.
Yes,
the problem. Listen. But the problem is when you walk into a Trump rally, everybody's all revved up and riled up, and the air of Trump's campaign is that of racism. I'm sorry, but that's a lot of it. A lot of what they say and is against migrants, against anybody coming into the country.
Pretty
that they
sure
don't like.
Dawn is right about this. That George Lopez made a joke about Mexicans at a Kamala Harris event, and nobody. I remember people talking about it, but nobody was offended.
Is right. George
because he was on the right side of it. He was on the right side of it.
What's George Lopez's heritage?
No, I have no idea.
He's Mexican.
I do not know what form of Latin person he is.
He is Mexican.
If he's, if that's the case,
I'm going to say Latinx because I think that's a safe thing. I think that's anybody who's in that portion of the world.
I don't know. I feel like there's times for appropriate jokes and there isn't, and this was an inappropriate joke made in a terrible venue with the wrong context, surrounded by the wrong people.
Okay, so Janine confirms, and also McDaniel confirms. Which is this like McLovin? Is that McDaniel? Is that just your name? Because that's pretty awesome. Cool. I don't agree with this either. That only one type of race can make jokes about their own race. We can't get to a society where we're restricting people's humor.
No, this was there's a thing here. This was a white guy making fun of minorities at a Trump rally. That's the point. This was a privileged white guy.
Guys can't do it. Privileged white guys can't do it.
I'm not saying that they can't do it. I'm saying you add all this together, that he's at a Trump rally.
That's it. But what I'm saying is I know you're building like a case. I'm just saying that's the line item. That's the problem. It's at a Trump rally, so it's bad automatically.
It's at a Trump rally. But there's a lot of unpacking to do with you're at a Trump rally speaking because you're carrying a lot on your shoulders there. Yeah, you're just at it. You can't just go, I'm a comedian at a Trump rally and I have nothing to do with anything. No, you're there. So you have you have an understanding of why you're there and who you're representing. Mm-hmm. So there's an air about the Trump campaign that there's a lot of criticisms about him being racist and bigoted and misogynist and all this stuff.
He says there's Latinos in the crowd, so he's making these jokes to them. right? He's making these jokes.
Yeah.
It's not a, I don't think that that's a racist. I don't think that's what a racist person does.
What does a racist person do?
I think a racist person hides under a hood. I think a racist person
Not these
says,
days. How many hoods do you see these days? You got
well,
Donald
right
Trump,
about that.
which
I'll give you that.
You know, Donald Trump, which you could argue with me if you want, but I'm always gonna think the guy's racist. I'm sorry, but he is, and the guy's not hiding it.
In your opinion, you think he's racist?
Pretty solid evidence that he's racist. Yeah.
Let's unpack this. What's the evidence?
I'll just go with the very first thing.
Listen, I think here's
the Central Park Five. Birtherism. How many things?
Here's what I think. I don't want to go down this road, but here's what I think. I think he figured out that when you don't have a lot of policy-based items to run on, it's easy to just blame people, right? And that's kind of what he's picked up. It's not, this is how I'm going to fix America or right the ship, or this is what I believe in. And he's got some of those things, but it's more, hey, aren't you mad that these people are coming in our country illegally? And then it's like, you should be mad because of this. And so he's basically taking something and making you angry about it. That's what I don't love about this whole take on how he runs his campaign this way. Because it's not
an oversimplification of what he's doing.
Well, I don't know if it's an oversimplification, but he's basically like, let's blame these people.
The cats.
Well,
he's vilifying.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Let me say it a little better because I didn't hit it with you here. Okay. When there was a period of time where Hitler was running the show, right? Prior to let's start putting Jewish people into concentration camps. He was just running the show, right? And then all of a sudden, is this a problem in your life? Well, you know who was to blame for this, right? The Jews. And then is that a problem in your life? Well, you know who is to blame for it, right? The Jews. He's kind of adopted
for me here. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. He's adopted the same thing of like, your wage is not where they're supposed to be.
The
because of the illegal immigrants.
Illegal Mexicans coming across the border. That's his whole campaign.
Right. So I believe that you could definitely call that racist, and I have no problem with that. But you could also call it, this is the only way I can get elected. This is the only way I know I can get elected. So he may not hate immigrants, but he sure is using it to get himself elected.
You're giving a little too much credit here.
I'm never going to defend him that he's not a racist. I wouldn't stand on that mountain, but I will stand on the hill that says comedians should be able to make jokes even if they're bad, and to frame these people like they're part of a campaign to further your agenda is wrong. And then I also think that all the liberal people getting angry and mad today is playing into Trump's hands, because he has found a way
negatively affecting him.
He has found a way to make this election about the crazy shit that he says and how Kamala reacts to it. So much so that Kamala is out there talking about policy. She's got plans on her website. She has all these things. And yet, if you go out there and you ask people, why aren't you voting for Kamala? They go, I don't know what she stands for.
Which is ridiculous
because most people live in a world where they go, I have 2 seconds on Twitter, or I have 4 seconds to listen to the news as I get ready in the morning. And that's the only bit that they hear.
Well, all you got to do is follow her on Twitter, and she's
they're not going to do that.
Why? I followed Trump.
I know, but look at Janine has 2 children. She's got a job. She has a husband who's useless, according to her. I love him, but she doesn't like him.
My point is, if you want to know her policies, it's literally a click away. If you have no interest in finding out what her policies are, you're not going to go looking for them. They don't have to be spoon-fed to you.
Right. But do you agree with me, though, that there's probably a huge portion of our society that gets a grand total of 17 minutes a day to find out what's happening in the world in between kids, work, and all their bullshit? And when the lead story is Tony Hinchcliffe says this and Kamala responds, or Donald Trump says this crazy batshit thing, and this is what Kamala had to say, he's taking the ball out of her hands. He's running out the clock in Crazy Town.
but the ball is gross and terrible, and it's not a good ball to be holding. He's saying you might
Not
not
Arnold
find out what
Palmer's
her
balls. I'll
policies
tell you
are.
that those Arnold Palmer balls are big, then delicious.
He might not be saying. He might be saying like, "Oh, she has no policies," but he's also saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm a big racist."
But
It's
it
like,
doesn't
what?
matter.
How could that not matter?
It doesn't matter to his people. His people don't give a shit.
That's the problem, don't you see that as a huge problem? That whoever his people are don't give a shit that he says all this racist shit.
Here's how I feel about this. In every election, and even if Frank doesn't want to admit this, him too, in every election, we all have to ignore certain things to vote for the person we want to vote for, right? We're going to roll into that booth. Democrats are going to roll into that booth and vote for Kamala, despite the fact that the Biden administration was not great in the first 3 years on illegal immigration.
There are a lot of Republican leaders who have abandoned Trump. His own vice president.
No, I'm not talking about that.
I'm
not talking about that right now. I agree.
You said if you're part of a party, you're going to vote for your party.
And everybody who walks into that booth, let me make my point here. Everybody who walks into a voting booth is ignoring a portion of the person they're going to vote for. They're ignoring a negative about them. It's just, that's human nature. Nobody is 100% perfect.
Not fighting you. Go ahead.
Right? So they're going to ignore my problem with the Trump supporters they're ignoring a lot more than the average bear is ignoring.
They're ignoring 95% of what he's saying. There's like 5% that can be skewed and said,
I agree with
maybe
you.
that's a policy.
I agree.
But 95% of it is either batshit crazy, racist, or
to you,
or it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I said this the other day, and we have the audio. He talked about the enemy from within being the most dangerous thing. And then he said in a related clip, the enemy from that he would use the army against the enemy. He said, I would use the National Guard and if need be, the army against the enemy within because it's the most dangerous. And then an hour later during another interview, he said, well, the enemy from within is Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. And then right after that, everybody from Jake Tapper to you name it, took that to every other Republican and said, can you, and every Republican said, no, he didn't mean that. So it's
which is insane.
It's like, that's why I'm saying the amount that the Trump supporters are ignoring is an alarmingly large amount. And that's the only problem I have with them.
That's a huge problem, though. That's a huge problem. They're ignoring it's like every day they have to ignore another thing. In support of what? In support of one or two things?
Well, the biggest scary thing to me is going into this election. When he was president the first time around, he was surrounded by people who literally ignored him. He would say crazy shit in the White House, and then all the people who worked for him, Secretary of State or even just staffers, would not do what he said. The chief of staff, 3 of them, would all say, don't wait to hear from me before we move forward on whatever. Yeah, and so he was contained, right? This time around, what's scary is he's not going to have those people in place. He's going to have yes men and women in place. And that's a little bit worrisome to me on this second trip down the road.
There were things that he was suggesting to do that they were like, you can't do that. That's not legal. Correct. And he was like, well, why can't we do it? He literally tear gassed a crowd of protesters so he could take pictures at the church holding the Bible upside down.
Correct.
I don't know at what point.
But do you see my point that those are major issues? Not what fucking Tony Hinchcliffe said. And then to position him as a Trump speaker is you're part of the problem. You're playing into MAGA's hands with this stuff. It doesn't bother them. But don't you agree that it doesn't bother? Like you said it a million times on the show. He could go on Fifth Avenue. It's what he said. He can go on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the face. They'd vote for him the next day. So why are you trying to play on that end of the field? Why?
Well, who are you gonna? Because there's a line for a lot of people. There are Republican voters who have said, well, January 6th crossed the line for me, so I'm not voting for him. At some point, one of the crazy batshit things he says or does is going to be the line for some people. And to ignore all these lines that Trump keeps drawing.
I don't disagree with that.
It's foolish. What?
But it's not going to be, I don't disagree with that. That's a good point. But it ain't going to be what a comedian says. In fact, I think, and this is how I feel, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
That, it's been highlighted, and he got a lot of support from Kamala Harris got a lot of support from influencers and celebrities with all their millions and millions of followers to spread support for her. So
yeah,
you might see it as a stupid move, but she highlighted something that was terrible that went on at his rally, and I think it gained some support for her.
I see it as a really stupid move because I see it as people are going to go, oh wait, he was just a comic. He wasn't he was just making a joke. Oh, see, there go the libs again, getting upset over, over nothing.
Well, I feel like a lot of that is going to be people who just dug their heels in and don't care about all the crazy, because when you take it and you add it to all the craziness, it's just another sprinkle on the bullshit Sunday.
That Sunday hasn't boiled over and it's just pouring out all over the place.
For a lot of people, it hasn't for some reason. That's
but
the crazy part.
You still think you can change a MAGA supporter's mind.
I don't think I can, but there are some people that.
Yeah, but you try. You try.
I do try. It doesn't mean we can't stop trying.
You try.
I'm trying because
I don't think you can change their minds.
I don't know what the line is for some people. I don't know
think
why
they have one. I don't think they have
the problem. One. That's a huge problem. If Kamala Harris came up on stage and shot someone, I probably wouldn't vote for. I wouldn't vote for her. I'm not going to say probably. I wouldn't vote for her if she just flat out murdered.
I mean,
against
Trump, would hope not.
I still think you would vote for her if Trump was on the other end of that.
But no, if she came up there and said, "Well, if she came up there and said, "I love Adolf Hitler and I think we should do what he did," I'd be like, "You're not getting my vote. That's insane."
Yeah.
Why can't people look at Trump, who has said that I should have Hitler's generals?
I'm telling you why.
How is that not crazy?
It's crazy, but you're acting like the crazy left part of the Democratic Party isn't completely insane and helped cause this a little bit.
I don't think it's a left-right issue. It's not left and right. It's racism versus not racism.
It's they're Native Americans. Oh, okay, they're Native Americans, and then a couple of years later, well, that's insensitive. They're not a Native American. They're indigenous people. Oh, okay, they're indigenous people, and then we got to get rid of the
no problem with that.
And the next thing you know, there's Native American indigenous people suing to get mascots back into sports and all because they're like, those people don't fucking speak for us.
You want me to give the answer to that?
Yeah.
People go, oh, what should we call, what should we call this certain group of people? The answer is, and this came from John, I can't credit myself. John Oliver said this. Whatever they want to be called. That's
fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
They want to be called, that's what you call them.
I'm okay with that. What I'm saying is they're not the ones even coming up with it. It's crazy liberal people that are coming up with it. And then what they're doing is shaming you and calling you out for not going along. I put out that video yesterday. That I'm like, Tony Hinchcliffe is a comedian. There's no reason to get this fucking crazy out of it. And you would have thought I was wearing a MAGA hat, shirt, and doing the whole thing. People had no context of my positions. And one guy told me to fuck a pie today. I don't know if you saw that, but one guy was so mad at me. He said, "Why don't you go fuck a pie?"
I mean, I don't know if
this
is
what the. Well, I thought it was hilarious. One of our longtime viewers was like, "Ant would never do whatever he said." I forget what it was, but and that's the truth. I would never waste a pie by putting my penis in it. I would eat it. I would never fucking do that to a pie ever.
Oh God!
You guys all know me, right? But that's my point. This is what they love to do. This is the fault of the left. They move the line, then they scream at you for not being on the line, and then they don't even care what real people fucking think about the line.
That's not true. You're basing it off. You're generalizing it. That's not. I care about what the particular group of people or a specific individual person. It's whatever. That's why there's all these. My pronouns are. Everybody said, "Oh, that's so liberal." Your pronouns. No, if you want to call, if you want to be called something specific, that's you put that out there and that's it. That's what you're called. And if you don't want to be called something, that's your call too. I don't understand.
Okay, a lot of people tried to get
kind
good lines off, but Miss Justice had the best line of "What kind of pie?" That's the funniest line out of all of them.
That is a good question, though.
Robin keeps bringing up the watermelon joke, and I didn't hear that. So
He pointed to an African American person in the crowd, and he I can't remember. I would butcher exactly what he said. I don't remember exactly, but he made. Oh, there he is, right there. Carving up a watermelon or something like that. Which is like a tired, old, stereotypical,
pretty
terrible,
tired,
racist
pretty tired.
fucking joke. So he did like 3 or 4 of these in a row, and it's all like it's just the cringiest. Someone in the chat said cringy, and I that's a good word for it. It was just cringy and racist, and it was like,
okay,
it's not funny.
Listen, that happens, but this is where I'm always surprised by you. You know what it's like to entertain people. You know what it's like to go in front of an audience and try and get laughter. It's not an easy thing. It's not a science. Jerry Seinfeld goes out and still eats it in front of crowds from time to time, and he's a Zen master.
I get that. That doesn't mean we should kiss a comedian's ass when he says something wrong.
No, but I think we should let him off the hook when it does happen, especially when Hinchcliffe has no instance of any of these issues in his past, from what I can see. I mean, maybe there was something that I just don't remember. Who the hell remembers everything? But the guy is a stand-up comedian. Again, he's not in the campaign. He's not a surrogate. He doesn't speak for Trump. He was there just to entertain an audience the same way. And then people go to me, well, what's a comedian doing there anyway? Well, what the fuck is Beyonce doing? Okay. What is Bruce Springsteen doing? He's performing. They're both doing their craft. That's okay.
I have no problem with someone perform. Yeah, that's what it is. You entertain the crowd.
They're all getting paid to be there. That's it.
Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue. You could have a comedian at your rally. That's not a big deal. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Have all the comedians. I don't care. But it's a different circumstance when you drop a comedian in a Trump rally and say here, and he just goes on and he says a bunch of racist jokes. It's like it's a different atmosphere. There's an art to these things, and there's a way to do things, and it's a terrible way it's a terrible thing that he did, and it was not in good taste. It was not in good humor. It was terrible.
Well, let me ask you, if this was on the other side, would you feel the same way?
Yeah, the other side. Can you imagine a comedian comes out and says Puerto Rico's a garbage pile? It doesn't even,
No, I mean, like, if this was said at a Kamala rally.
Yeah, it would be. I bet that Kamala or whoever would probably put out a statement too. Said this was not. I don't know where the hell this came from. This was not a. There was also, I saw something. I can't verify if this is true. I'm not even going to say it because I don't even know if it's true. Never mind.
Oh no.
I'm
going to wonder what it is for the rest of the episode.
I'll tell you after the show. I can't confirm it, so I'm not going to say it. But I just think it was.
Aaron C., if Bruce Springsteen said people who live in trailers in middle America are garbage, we would not stand for that either. I don't know. Listen to the lyrics of Ghost of Old Tom Joad. You start thinking about some different things there. I don't think Bruce Springsteen likes. I don't think he likes anybody outside of New Jersey, to be honest with you. He's a little bit of a.
You don't like anybody inside New Jersey.
That's true. I'm an anti-Jersey. That's 100% true. But here's the thing, too.
You have family there too.
I do. I don't even. That's why I look down on the state. I would never get offended at that joke. Puerto Rico's gorgeous. Like, if I'm Puerto Rican, I'd be like, my country's gorgeous. That's not, if I lived in a shitty country, then I'd be like, hey, that's a little offensive. But it's a beautiful fucking place. It's gorgeous.
But you're not considering the whole scope of the thing. I think that's the issue. The issue is he's at a Trump rally, and Trump infamously shit on Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria. So,
yeah, I didn't realize that at the time when he said it. I caught that. I put those 2 and 2 together way after the fact.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Miss Justice has she just nailed it. And I don't know if you said this. She writes, I can't believe in the whole USA you can't come up with a third candidate that is more moderate. She's correct.
There are other candidates, but Democrat, it's a very majority of two. It's a two-party.
It's a disgustingly two-party
Country.
system that we can't seem to break that mold.
It's a tough. nut
She's
to
right.
crack,
Yeah,
because if you look at the ballot, there are other candidates running, but you don't even know who they are.
Right, because here's the thing, and I truly believe this now. I think it is because it's trendy, because it's almost like watching reality television. Election, because they're going to pick the two people that cause the most ruckus, that will get attention, that will grab headlines. That's what it's about now.
Well, it's also about who could control the government better. Because if you have half the government's Democrat and half the government's Republican in the House and the Senate, you're gonna want your candidate to go in as controlling the majority, so you get more stuff done on your side. And you're probably going to vote with the people that most closely represent your side. Problem is, when one of them's a Nazi, that causes a big problem. That's like, well, there's a moral quandary there.
Well, I'll tell you what the real problem is. It's that the craziest faction of the left and the right are the only ones who give a shit enough to vote during the primary. Like nobody else cares.
Or vote at all. Because
or vote at all. You're right. So like
only person who votes in this group is the one wearing the reddish brownish shirt right here.
No, I voted. I voted.
No, you don't, Anthony.
I've skipped a couple. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've skipped a couple.
Aaron and I already voted.
Twice.
I wonder who you voted for.
Yeah,
no,
twice.
Not twice. We already went this weekend and voted.
Can you tell me who you voted for? Don't know.
I'll give you two guesses.
This is how Frank and Aaron voted. They just drew a line.
That shows how often you vote. It's this way.
It's this way. Oh, okay. I didn't think this would read, but you're right. That's a bad excuse.
Yeah, no, the joke is this way. I got it.
My mother goes, I voted today. She goes, did you vote? I go, no, but we're going to vote every day this week. And she goes, make sure you do, because this is an important race. I'm like, who's going to explain to my mother that that's not how?
See, that's a good joke.
Thank you. I said, who's going to explain to my mother and Puerto Ricans how voting works?
Exactly.
And that's
see, that's not a good joke.
Did you and Aaron get so turned on by voting for her that you couldn't even wait to go home? You did it.
We got in the same booth and closed the curtain.
nice. Handy in the in the voting booth.
Let's be honest. You guys mailed in your ballot.
Stickers flying everywhere. What?
You mailed in your ballot. So, right?
No, did we mail in our ballot? No, we went to a polling place and
they got Frank's ballot and they were like, "Is this a cum stain on the ballot?" I don't even.
I'm saying
the machine, see what happens.
That a lib thing to do is to mail in your ballot, or no?
Extremely.
Here's why it's a lib thing to do, because during the first election, Trump was like, "Don't mail in your ballot." He told everybody not to. He told his supporters not to vote by mail, and then he was surprised when all these votes came in by mail at the last minute for Joe Biden, and he was like, "Well, all of a sudden, there's a mystery. These votes came out of nowhere." He's like, "Yeah. Those are mail-in ballots, you idiot. You told your supporters not to do that."
That was a whoopsie daisy.
Yeah.
On his
and guess
part.
what? They listened to you.
Yeah. A lot of people are voting early now, though. There's a lot. The voting place by me was packed this weekend.
It was a huge line. Yeah, there was a line by us. We waited not that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes online. And then when we came out, the line was like 3 times as long as when we went in.
Yeah. Let me ask you, when you went in to vote, did you talk to other people online?
No.
Nobody said, "Hey, you want a water? I'll give you water if you."
No. We were talking to each other, and we talked to the people running the place. Yeah.
Like, did you say, "Hey, what's up? How are you? Hope you're a Kamala voter"? Yeah.
Did not
punch them.
No. And there was we didn't see anybody wearing anything, any hats, any flags, nothing. It was all you wouldn't know who's voting for who.
You hear any chatter?
No.
All right, hold on. This just came in. Is it true you slipped one of the poll people a $5 and said, "Can you change the next 4 votes that come in here to?"
Oh yeah, he definitely did. That was my next question.
Unverified. I can neither confirm. I have no comment at this time.
Well, we'll look into it. We're gonna find. We have the evidence, and we're gonna
Just so we're clear, that's a big no.
we're gonna show it to everybody in at some point in 20 years.
Yeah, I think the pillow guy has that evidence. We'll
The
wait for him to
fuck?
come out.
Hold on a second. Is this true? The place was nice. It had chandeliers. Did you vote in a place that had chandeliers?
It did. It was like this big. It was at a what's it called? A synagogue, I think, and it had like a.
You are
It
rich
had
as
like
fuck. You're
it had
so
like a
fucking.
hall. It was like a dining, like a hall where you would have a party. It was either a synagogue or a church, but it was like the back. I can't remember. It was the back room, but it was this huge dining hall with like the dance floor in the middle and all the carpet around the sides and chandeliers. It was nice, big nice place.
Sounds nice. Did you get some fried calamari while you were there? Sounds like you were at a fucking occasion.
There was an omelet station, but we didn't.
Fried calamari.
That's a joke. Call Tony Hinchcliffe. Fucking send him this clip. God damn it.
I could have wrote his whole fucking thing.
That was good. An omelet station. God damn, I love an omelet station joke. That was really good.
All right, there aren't enough of those.
Yeah, why is it always churches and synagogue? Is that where it was schools when we were kids? Now I vote in a fucking firehouse. Our fire department place is the voting place over here.
Usually, when we vote on the day, it's at a library near us. But yeah, the early voting was at far fewer places, so we had to go to a specific place.
Janine, how early do you plan on voting?
Wait, say that again?
How early do you plan on voting? When are you going to go vote?
First of all, no, I won't early. I don't get the point of early voting.
Well, we voted early because we're not going to be around.
What the fuck does that mean?
Day.
What do you don't get the point of early vote? What, convenience?
Like,
is that where?
Like,
just more options for you to go vote.
Right. I guess I was just going to say, unless you're not here, okay. But
well, if you're busy on election day and you can't get to the,
yeah, but here's the thing: in New York, your vote doesn't count.
Well, if we did away with the Electoral College, everybody's vote would count. But
right,
that's a different conversation.
But our vote doesn't count here.
What do you mean our vote? Whose vote?
Well, your vote for president is going to go to blue. It's going to go to Kamala. But all the other races are pretty important too. So you should probably vote. Yeah, but actually, I take that back. Janine. You should stay home. There's no reason for you to go.
Yeah, who are you voting for?
Don't fuck up my don't fuck up my state legislature because I got a couple things I'm trying to get across here, and you're gonna make it more difficult for me.
I wrote in your name.
I think a lot of people don't know who's even running in their towns or states.
No, of course not. Why would they? That's boring ass shit.
Yeah, nobody knows or cares, but really that's more important for you, the people, but nobody does that anyway. Nobody votes. Honestly, we do have a low turnout of voting.
It's not, I mean, you say nobody votes, but we went early voting. The line was at least a half hour long.
Well, they're actually saying that that's what could cost Trump the election because new voters and people who don't vote often are looks like the numbers are breaking in Kamala's favor, whereas he has all old voters and he would need every one of his supporters to go out and vote for him in order to have a chance at winning, whereas she can pick up more from new voters and first-time voters, right? First-time voters are young kids. They tend to vote Democrats. They tend to vote for the Democratic Party. So if a lot of the new voters go out, or people who don't vote often, it's going to break in her direction, people feel.
But like here in New York, it really doesn't matter. I know that's mean to say.
For president, it doesn't. For president, it doesn't. For president, it's not going to make much of a difference.
No. It does. It does. Because if 90% of the vote, if let's say every Democrat in New York decided, man, my vote doesn't count.
And that scenario, 90%
yes. Republican, yes. 10% Democrat.
Yes.
It's going to matter.
You're right. So everybody can't think that way.
Well, if everybody thought that specific way, it'd be like,
Janine is not going to vote for your candidate. Why are you convinced? You should be like, yes, Janine, you're right. Stay home.
Janine's not the only one.
Don't vote
what
against.
the-
Janine is canceling out your vote, and I got news for you. She's going to vote 4 times. So
I am.
I'm canceling out her vote.
good point. Yeah, that's right. You. That's a good point. You got me
Go
there.
get him, Frank.
You got me there.
Go get him.
Somebody before
it
said
depends.
sick 'em, Frank, when you were arguing with me. It
Thank
was
you.
Sybil.
Whoever says that.
I have to go back and find it. She was like, sick 'em, Frank. Okay.
Janine
Wow.
asked me who I was voting for. Who you voting
It's funny. Lindarella said everybody I know votes. Guess what? Everybody I know does not vote. Besides Frank.
That's because your family is filled with shitty people, Janine. Let's be honest.
Why-
And your friends are not that much better.
No,
Why
you know what's
wouldn't
funny?
you vote?
Because, like I said, like it doesn't really matter for president. Because
On the
It
other
does. It
hand,
adds into the number.
who did not vote, in fact, who did not leave his house on election day. Remember that old George Carlin bit?
Yep.
no, I don't think he's funny either. No, I'm just kidding. He is.
Oh my
he
God.
is.
See, that just destroys all your credibility.
He
Jesus.
kind of just makes it. You know what I mean?
Well, because he's an old
One
man,
day
so
he'll
you're
hit it
sexually
big.
attracted to him. That's the problem.
There you go.
Yeah, one day George Carlin will hit it big.
One day.
Mm.
My parents have never voted ever. Ever.
That's because I'm pretty sure your father's an illegal immigrant, and
Well-
I don't know if that with his accent, I don't think he ever got citizenship. To be totally honest with you,
The problem is he did come here legally, so that's a whole other story.
from what country? Frank and I have known him for like 20 years. We still have no idea where he's from. We have no idea what
I
origin.
cannot place where he's from.
Yeah,
Argentina, but
that can't be. No, I was thinking Europe. Frank, were you thinking Argentina?
Europe, you were not you know this already.
I think he's from Krakosia. It's a fictitious place in the
I don't
terminal.
think the thing is too, like
He's from Plattsville.
Plattsville. Sounds like next to what's it called? Springfield.
It's just south of Springfield, Plattsville.
A lot of
Janine's father.
and you know what's funny? Even my husband's parents, I don't think they've ever voted either.
Again, illegal immigrants. Just because they came from
Oh, they're
Italy doesn't
definitely-
mean they came here
Definitely
legally.
illegal.
In fact, if you want to make a joke, here's a joke that's based in some truth. 80% of the Italians you know came here fucking illegally, or they came to avoid
That's
getting
not-
sentenced for murder on the other side. Okay, you want to start spreading some truths
know.
around.
Well,
That's,
any of
the
that's
truth.
true.
That's very true.
I'm just
No, I
saying,
mean, when they came over on Ellis Island, that's legal. Also, if you come here seeking
Not if you were
asylum,
trying to avoid
that's
getting a
legal.
murder rap. That's not legal.
What?
Not if
Oh,
you
I
were
don't
coming here trying to avoid a murder rap, as most of them were.
Well, the murder is not legal, but coming here is.
Here's a fun fact for everybody: 90% of Italians who came here killed a Don before they got on the boat to come on over.
yeah, it's true.
And if you are interested, you could watch this incredible documentary called Godfather 2 that will perfectly illustrate that point.
That's a
Documentary.
lot of Dons.
Yeah, well, there's a big criminal problem over there. I don't know if you're aware.
Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So none of my family is really political, and really I don't remember growing up knowing anything about politics at all. Like that was just like nothing we spoke about at all.
Me
And I'm
too.
sure you either, right?
Yeah, but I really didn't. The one thing I'll credit Trump for is I really wasn't all that interested in politics until the shitstorm came.
No,
I want to know what
no.
made
Now I have another reason to hate Trump.
right.
Sorry, Janine,
Yeah,
go ahead.
there you go.
I was just gonna say I don't think Frank was ever interested in politics until. But why? Why? What made you go?
Well, it was because it was so frustrating that such an obvious con man can snow so many people. It was, and all the batshit
Are you
stuff he
talking
was
about
saying,
God? No.
all the batshit stuff he was saying and doing was, how could you not look? How could you? It was like a car wreck. You know, you don't want to look, but you're like, you gotta take a peek. It's very, you kind of like, you got to check in every now and then and go, what the hell is this guy doing? So it got more and more of
That's when your obsession began then.
Plus, at the time, it was a celebrity. He was a celebrity running for president. That was, that drew people in to pay attention. And then all the scandals start. And that was like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? And then you just get drawn in and drawn in and drawn in.
It's an interesting point you make, but I want to point this out too. And you have to admit,
I don't have to admit shit.
every Republican, Bush, the other Bush, every one of them was the devil and Hitler before Trump came along. And then all of a sudden, you guys finally got somebody who was really shitty. And it was like, oh, those other people, maybe not so much. And that's, again, another problem of the liberals is they had this playbook. And this is why people follow Trump. Because they're so sick of everybody being the end of democracy, everybody being this. Now we might be facing the end of democracy, and the Democrats have been the boy who cried wolf for the last 30 years.
Look at with all those Democratic leaders, has democracy ended? This is not the argument you're making. It doesn't hold up because it's almost. Well, I'm talking about under Democratic leadership. Under Trump's leadership, though, we had an insurrection. That was fun. And, there was no threat of him ending democracy, but it was, they tried. So it was, when I said there was no threat, I mean, they weren't going to succeed.
Well, round 2 is coming, so get ready for it. Trump on Rogan. Did you see clips? What'd you think?
I saw a couple of clips. I didn't see much because I don't know. Did they release? What did they share with everyone? I only saw like 2 clips.
It's a 3-hour episode, 3-hour plus episode that came out on Friday, late after our show. Yeah, because we got off the air and it still wasn't out, and then I think it dropped just before midnight.
All right, so I didn't see. I only saw maybe collectively a minute and a half, 2 minutes of it, whatever those couple of clips were.
I'm going to be honest with everybody. I put it on. I fell asleep, and then I was in and out of sleep on it. And then I did go back and watch some parts of it. I thought after I watched it, I thought everybody can look at our numbers and see where we are in the grand spectrum of things. So obviously he's the greatest podcaster that we have going, right? But after I watched that, I thought he's not ready to do these interviews yet. He just.
Why? What happened?
He doesn't. He was trying to clarify. Trump ran the show for the most part. Like he couldn't rein him in at times. At times he supported him when it was unnecessary. He got a few things just flat out wrong. Some things were easily researched that could have been debunked and shouldn't have even been brought up. And like for instance, he leads the interview off with this kind of age-old this age-old tale of they used to love you on The View, and now all of a sudden they hate you because The View is part of the machine, and the machine tells them they have to hate Trump, so now they hate Trump. When in actuality, the clips that were put together in that package that's been circulating the internet, one of the clips is from 2011, before he ever announced, the one that everybody was fawning all over him and how much they loved him, right? And then the other one was Barbara Walters, who they had him on when he was running, and Barbara Walters was nice to him. But when you look at the clips, and Whoopi played this today, by the way, on The View, you can see her face, and she is not happy that he's there. This is after he's announced and after he started saying the things he was saying. Which, even if it didn't go down that way, the fact that people enjoyed Trump as a game show host and then turned on him once he started talking about politics, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But Joe Rogan positioning it as, well, the machine kicked in and now all of a sudden they hate you it's a really easy one that, again, with 4 seconds of researching, he shouldn't have led off the interview with that, because that was a piss poor way to start the interview.
Plus, I mean, that kind of feeds into his whole the swamp and they're all against me and they're
Right.
after me, and it's like,
And
well,
he's trying to. The guy came in and he's trying to be nice. I get there has to be some niceties. So I understand where he was trying to go, but that was a
yeah, but you don't have to kiss his ass.
You do
You
not
could be
have.
like, here's what we're talking about, and
Yeah.
you know,
And there was some, like, for instance, he, like, the one thing, and he, so Rogan put this out on Friday, and then he did a fight companion show on Saturday, with a bunch of people in the audience, and then he reflected on the interview, and he said the first big question he had for him was, what was that first day like? Which is a great question, because I wanted to know too. As soon as he asked it, he goes, you win. He goes, you walk into the White House, and what do you do? What are you doing? Like, what's the, and so Trump's going on and on about the Lincoln bedroom and all this kind of things, and it's surreal and blah, blah, blah. And it's interesting. And he's like, okay, but now you have to now you have to run the government. How does that work? And he couldn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Like you have to hire all these
he did
people.
It for 4 years, and he still doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
And Trump just steered it away. And there's a bunch of other things that were just not great. And it's like those times where he should hone him back in and be like, well, actually, this is like, again, Joe is a truth seeker. I believe he looks for the truth. I believe he's also stuck in a world where everything is a conspiracy. The fact that he couldn't get a definitive, the 2020 election, blah, 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 out of him was pretty bad. Although I will say this, Trump, there's a clip and you should see it. Trump he's explaining the election because he did ask him that.
We lost by this, but we won, by the way. We lost, but we won.
Yeah. So there's that moment where Trump fucks up which, give Joe Rogan credit, that's what comes from, this is just a conversation. It's not an interview, just a conversation. And so he does actually get him to put down those defenses. And that's why I think he says, we lost by this much, because he got lulled into it, Yeah,
he doesn't believe his own bullshit.
And Joe did press him. He did say, he's like, there's mountains of evidence. And Joe was like, well, when are you going to present this evidence? And he goes on with a crazy answer. And it's like, okay, but send it to me. We'll talk about it. Like he doesn't follow up. He didn't follow up enough. He didn't challenge enough when needed to. He didn't want it to be an interview, and it wasn't. But you do have to have a little bit of that, because you could even see when he was trying to correct him, he would kind of say things under his breath. He would be like, well, actually, it's this. And then he would go on to the next question. It's like, well, but you can stand on that and push back on it so that people don't miss the quick thing you say under your breath when you're trying to correct a point that he made that was incorrect.
Right.
So overall, I felt like he wasn't ready for it, and he did an okay job with it. It could have been better. It's his responsibility to be better in that situation. That being said, he said this to Trump, and the next day he invited Kamala on. Kamala should go on that show. Like, if she doesn't, it's a mistake. She should be there. Because Kamala, again, could start to run up the score. She walks into that room with him and says, in the Biden administration, we didn't handle the border well enough in the first couple of years. And that's because of a variety of reasons. We've rebounded and done a better job in our last year. And I have ideas on what I'm going to do that's going to be even better than that. You can say that without throwing Biden under the bus, without looking like a traitor.
No, the talking point is Trump torpedoed the bill that we had in place,
which is a great point. It doesn't address the first 3 years, but it's a great point to make. I agree with you 100%. You pivot into that, and that's how you start to exit that question. But to just to say it wasn't great. Maybe we should have jumped on it a little sooner. It wasn't great, but when you're running a government, you got to prioritize, and there was different things going on. We were trying to soft land whatever you're going to say it. Just own up to it a little bit. It'll disarm that point. It'll take that point out of the conversation. And then I think she could literally crush it with him with her plans, because if she had a long form, conversational, medium to go on and really lay out all her shit, it would take away from those quick little sound bites of, yeah, Donald Trump is fucking crazy. This is what he said today.
She's been doing interviews. She wanted to do another debate, and he backed out of it.
You're right. Yeah, and she went on Stern and she went on Call Her Daddy. The problem is those were 40 minutes. They were quick schedules, in and out. Trump, I'm going to give him credit for this. Trump did 3 hours with Rogan, and Rogan commented on this later because I watched. I didn't see Trump take a sip of water the whole time. I didn't see Trump. It was nonstop. So Trump did. Usually on a Rogan podcast, an hour and a half in, somebody goes, "I got to take a leak. Can we pause?" Like, and they go take a pee break.
Trump probably just went in his diapers.
I was wondering that too. No, I was really wondering. How do you not pee? I have to fucking pee right now. I'm ready to end this goddamn thing. I got to pee so bad.
Yeah, right. There's a weird thing. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to, I have no idea. But he was on Fox and Friends or something. And you look at where he's sitting. He's sitting on the couch with them. They're on either side.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. What is that?
Because I did send this to you, and it didn't make it to the show. It looked like it was a towel, but it was actually his suit, because his suit fans out.
Like billows out? Okay. It looks like some kind of mat or something. It
looked like they put a towel under him. They didn't want him to piss the white couch.
That's what it looked. All right, so it's a suit. Fine.
Yeah. But I thought the same thing too. I'm like, holy shit, this guy does have an incontinence problem. Sybil is right.
Held his piss in. Great.
Rogan did say let's rein in the weave here for a second, because he was going all over.
The weave is starting to get a little.
Yeah.
The weave is just another way of saying I just bullshit until you forget about the question you asked.
But again, for a comic, and again, this is what, comics love to call out inconsistencies and bullshit, right? It's kind of human nature,
Sure.
I thought he would have been a little bit more on that side of it. And again, I know you have to be
just fact checking out just have a list of, here's what you said, here's the truth, explain yourself.
Because there's just so much. I mean, listen, between not conceding, January 6th, and this whole new thing about, the enemy within, I mean, those 3 things alone are enough to be like,
you could spend an hour on it.
Yeah, you've got to simplify that. Like, you can't, and I would have played the clips. I would have been like, you can't say this, the enemy within, you're going to use the military on. And then you say who the enemy within is. And then everybody just acts like, well, he doesn't really mean that. It's like,
we went through this the first time when he said, he's not, once he gets in office, he'll calm down and he'll change once the gravity of the office, settles in and everything. He didn't change. He was doing exactly what he was campaigning. He was the same crazy person he was, but in and out of the office.
Yeah. I can't help but think, though, this whole Madison Square Garden thing is just setting up this narrative of, we sold out Madison Square Garden, and explain to me how I lost this election. That's I just think he's setting this whole thing up because it was so useless.
It is, but because you go to his other rallies in whatever state, they're not, from the footage I've seen, they're not filled. They're not packed. And,
I don't even give a shit if they are. It means nothing to me.
It means nothing. Exactly.
Just because you could put 8,000 people in one space on an means nothing to me.
It doesn't mean you're going to get a gajillion votes. It means you might get those 8,000 people, but that doesn't really add up to too much in its terms of millions.
Absolutely.
Hundreds of millions, whatever. Tens of millions.
So, and he's acting like, we can flip New York. Like, you cannot flip New York. You're not Reagan. You're not Reagan. You can't flip New York. No way. Not in this era. And you're just wasting everybody's time by doing this here. You could have been anywhere. I mean, a publicity stunt, okay, I get it, but I feel like you're doing a publicity stunt to set up the fact that you're just going to be crying if and when you lose this election.
Yeah. And I remember way before he was saying, like, if they asked him, if you lose this election, are you going to run again? And he said no. Now, obviously, the reason he would say no is because he wants you to vote for him now. He's not going to say, if I lose this one, I'll just go again. So that's why he said, no, I'm not going to run again. So I think if he loses, he'll probably try again. That's my opinion.
I wonder. I didn't think I took him at his word because he'll be old as shit.
Why would you take him at his word?
I don't know.
What's the matter with you?
Good boy.
Have you learned nothing?
I just thought he'd be old. He wouldn't. I don't think he
He'll
would
be old, but I don't think that's going to stop him.
I don't think. By the way, everything we're going through with Biden now, we're going to go through with him if he wins 4 years from. Like, you think his last year in office is going to be one? Like, he's cognitively declining. It's not as bad as where Joe Biden is right now, but it's not going to get better. Certainly not going to get any better.
You think his batshit speeches and whatever are going to be all of a sudden sane?
No. What I'm worried about is he's put people in places to certify this election or overturn it. He's got people all up and down the state voting, bodies, that's there. He's got the Supreme Court in place. He's got people in place that are just yes people. I don't have a lot of faith in term number 2 if he makes it this time around. I also don't think he is going to. I believe in my heart of hearts that she's going to win. She's going to win Pennsylvania. If she takes Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and what's the other one? Michigan. We're talking about a landslide. You're talking about possibly a 30-point electoral college win.
I hope it's not even that. It's not close at all. How could it be?
They say people.
I know. It's.
I know the poll. No. I know the polls. But they're saying that his campaign. Now, listen. What else is the campaign going to say other than they're super confident, right? I mean, that's what they're going to say all the time. But I mean, I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that when the night comes, again, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, he's up in each one of those states, 0.5, 0.1, and 0.3. So 3 points is well within the margin. We're talking about down to almost 0, dead even. Trump is leading in those areas. And I just, again, with the amount of new vote, these are polls, right? With the amount of new voters that have come in since Taylor Swift, new voters that are just being, registered in Pennsylvania, in some of these states, I just think she's going to come out and it's not. I think it's going to be close. Listen, I don't think she's going to win by, 17, 20, 30 million votes. That's not happening. But I think she's going to. I think it could be a 303 kind of electoral college map at the end of the day, because she could pick up those big 3, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And by the way, she's in there all the time, and he's dicking around at Madison Square Garden,
Yeah. Well, I think I know that matters on a certain level, but I think with social media these days, no matter where you campaign, it's going to be seen.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not going to be seen.
Yeah, somebody said that to me too. Like, it's just a publicity stunt. He's just maximizing the amount of publicity he's going to get. And so maybe, you could be right. And listen, if it happens in New York, people in Pennsylvania are going to hear about it,
all his rallies are going to end up online, covered by the news, covered by this, covered by that. So
still, you put that at Wells Fargo in Philadelphia, and I think you're going to have a bigger impact on people, in the state you need to convert,
Maybe.
Anyway, last topic, Frankie C. Jeremy Allen White is going to be playing Bruce Springsteen in an upcoming biopic.
I saw that, and it looks the part, right? They showed a picture of him.
It's a dark
posing as Bruce Springsteen, right?
Yeah, it's like a dark, blurry photo. Here, I'll pop up the Variety article really quick that has the photo. Credit to Mark Seliger, who I guess got this somehow from the movie company. There's the
not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. I got to tell you something though. I mean, Bruce has such a unique look. He's got the jawline and the whole, the hair, the little crazy hair in it. I don't know. I got really fucking excited when I saw this photo. I think this could be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's as soon as you say biopic, they're going for the Oscar. It's like how many every year. If you're in a biopic, it's going to get nominated somehow. You know, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I think we hit a lull. June, we hit a lull. June. And
we had a real Bruce Springsteen record.
I think we hit the wall for music biopics, because there were some great, like, I mean, there were some that were like you name it. What's her name? It's not right, but it's okay. Was it Whitney Houston? Like, there were some amazing ones that kind of just fell flat and didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
But between the Tim Chalamet, Bob Dylan one and now this one, like, I think we're coming back up of like, holy shit, this could be pretty fucking epic.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
We will see.
We shall see.
He's great. He was. I thought he was going to play. Didn't people want him to be like Gene Wilder or something? Or
yeah,
right. That would be a great. There's a good biopic,
because they look like, if you said, you know what, turns out Jeremy Allen White is Gene Wilder's like great nephew, I'd be like, checks out.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I agree. But you get him in that fucking jacket and he's like standing there like Bruce and everything, and he kind of looks like him.
The white t-shirt and the jeans.
Oh my God, it could be so good. I got so excited because my cousin sent me a clip. Bruce was on Stern last week, I think. By the way, did you see there's a Bruce documentary out. It's really good. I watched it after the show Friday.
Didn't see it.
It's on Hulu.
Is it called Dancing in the Dark?
No, I forget what it's called. On the Road. I forget what it's called. It's on Hulu. The Bruce Springsteen thing on Hulu. Watch it. It's worth it. It's good. Yeah, my cousin sent me this clip and he goes, you got to hear it, because my family has a house on the Jersey Shore, and he wrote one of the records, the one with Sandy on it. In fact, he wrote the song Sandy like a couple of blocks away from where our house was on the Jersey Shore. Yeah.
Nice.
So it was really cool to hear him be like, yeah, it was at Bradley Beach. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's kind of like one of those, crazy little moments. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm excited about the biopic because Bruce had a crazy, he's had an interest. Like, everybody was like, oh, he's the next Dylan. He's the next. And he wasn't, and then
his own thing.
He had some hits and the whole band. And then little Steven Van Zandt leaves. Then they really hit it big. And then he's always competing with Bon Jovi, and Bon Jovi's outselling the shit out of him, kind of in popularity and everything. But Bruce has had a fuck hell of a career,
That's true. That is true.
It's been good. All right, my man. Are we good? You good?
I think we're good. That is a show, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you finally
pick up Oval?
Wait, can you finally admit that I was right about the whole Tony Hinchcliffe thing?
No.
Okay.
Go pick up Oval, written by Aaron Campanella. There it is. Anthony's holding a copy of it. It's a wonderful book. Highly recommend it. You'll love it. Pick it up. It's on Amazon right now. The link is in the description below. You could download a digital copy or get the hard copy that Anthony's holding. Well, not that specific one, but a hard copy of your own. It's a wonderful read. And if you've purchased it already, we really appreciate it. Thank you for the support.
Tony Hinchcliffe does not endorse this book. That's just...
Thank goodness.
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe has nothing to do with this book, I'll tell you what.
That is fine.
You know what just dawned on me? My own copy of Oval is not signed. That's...
I gotta get that signed for you.
What did I do to your wife? No, never mind. It is signed. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
All right. Maybe before you jump to a conclusion.
See, I apologize. I jumped to conclusions.
You did.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you on Wednesday. Appreciate all the banter, the comments, the shares, and everything else.
Show me potato salad. Maybe we should go now.